For Alaska Real Estate, I'm Chris Story. Did you hear the one about the two hunters that are in the woods? I'm going to tell you anyway. There's two hunters in the woods. When one of the men collapses, he doesn't seem to be breathing and his eyes are completely glazed over. The other guy whips out his cell phone and calls emergency services. He gasps, "My friend is dead. What can I do?" The operator says, "Calm down, sir. I can help. First, let's make sure he's dead." There's a silence, then a gunshot. Back on the phone, the guy says, "Okay, now what?" That's awful. I love it. All right, now let's get serious. Did you read on Realtor.org about the new Rand Corporation study that showed additional residential neighborhoods can, in predominantly commercial blocks, lower crime rate by nearly 10%? Fascinating. See, land use zoning has such a major impact on our industry and your life. Just one more reason we realtors need to stay involved at the local planning and zoning departments. In the October edition of Realtor Magazine, the number one worst home showing offense, according to Realtors polled, was leftover homeowners. By far, one of the top offenses cited by buyers agents was homeowners still lingering around when the agent arrived with clients to preview the home. Awkward encounters ranged from buyers finding sellers in a shower, asleep in bed, to even stalking around the house following the buyers and agents. Well, we've all had those kinds of experiences. One of the worst offenses, I think, is a vicious dog, even one in the kennel. It's just distracting. From the latest Realtor magazine, are foreclosures a better buy than short sale? Well, consumers may find buying a bank-owned property to be easier and better deal than a short sale. Increasing REO inventory, deeper discounts, and shorter times to close can make a foreclosure a more attractive option for home buyers than a short sale. That according to data from RealtyTrack. Now, I can tell you that much from experience, and I'm sure you could as well. The average sales price of a bank-owned property is 30% below the average sale price of a non-distressed home, again, according to RealtyTrack. Isn't it frustrating when the bank or the lender or the servicer agrees to a short sale, but then it's like pulling teeth to get them to review documents and get the deal through? I hate to see it for the homeowner, but foreclosures are easier to deal with. At least that's my opinion. You're about to meet three Realtor board presidents from Homer to Kenai to Juneau, and stay tuned after for our latest installment of Health, Wealth, and Prosperity. More with Phil Eherenman and my personal journey towards health. Alaska Real Estate is made possible thanks to the fine folks over at Alaska Housing Finance Corporation, your partners in Alaska Real Estate. We're so fortunate to have AHFC in our own backyard. From low-interest mortgages to energy rebates. Don't forget about the Mod Squad educating buyers all over Alaska. For all the latest from Alaska Housing, visit their website, ahfc.us, and keep an eye on akrebate.com. Please welcome El Presidentes.
I'm Deborah Lysick, Catchmack Board of Realtors.
Deborah, what's going on with the Catchmack Board? I mean, are we up in membership or down? What are our numbers looking like this year?
We just took 2 people on, so we've got 56 members, and we have 3 new affiliates, so we're at 17 affiliates.
What do you think is the prevailing thought about the real estate market here in the Catchmack area? Is it people positive, pessimistic, optimistic? What's your sense?
I think our market's doing very well. I think we've been stable throughout this whole crisis thing. Our stats are running pretty good in the Anchor Point area. You know, the median sale price about 163. That's up about 14% from the previous 12 months. I mean, this is according to Kirk Olson and the MLS. And Homer, the median range in January was 250, and that was up a little bit, about 6% from the previous 12 months. Commercial has been really good, and then land is starting to take off. I mean, in this first part of the year, January, February, there's been quite a few lot sales in town and in surrounding areas. So, and that was kind of our lagging, really the flattest part of our market. People just weren't really looking to buy and do any spec homes or that kind of stuff, but there's holes in the ground right now. People are putting up some spec homes, and I think it's going to be a good year all in all. And, you know, the locals here are buying the land right now, but we're getting a lot of interest from people in the lower 48 looking to come up in May, June, July, August, and buy property. And they're already targeting what they're looking at buying.
Kachumak Board of Realtors has always been generous to RPAC, but also its community outreach programs and stuff. What do you have on deck for 2013?
Well, we're definitely going to continue to do our work to help the people in our community, because that is part of our ongoing goal, is to give back to the community that gives to us so generously. So, and this year we were able to give a little over $10,000, $3,000 in scholarships, and then equal portions to food bank, hospice, and Boys and Girls Club. And we're looking at doing a couple other things this year to try to up that. The food bank really needs the money. I mean, they were so ecstatic to get that check that it shows how much they really need it, and so we're going to really try to up that a little bit.
Well, education, too. Talk about what's on deck for education for the board.
This year, it's a licensing year, so we wanted to get at least the 20 hours in for everyone, but we also have a couple of CRS classes that may happen, and the members do like the CRS classes, and so we're looking towards getting a lot of education to our members.
In the community in general, are there any projects or any developments that you want to talk about?
We had a couple of very good general membership meetings, and we intend to have more, but we had one regarding the natural gas line, in which I think we were able to really answer some questions for the community, and we invited the community. We had a great turnout. We had builders, developers, surveyors, all kinds of folks came to that meeting, including buyers and sellers, and they had a lot of questions, and we were able to answer them to the good, and I think that was helpful. The natural gas line is going to come into Homer now, and I think that's going to be wonderful for our community. We had a meeting recently regarding the Borough Ordinance 2011-12 about property on water bodies, and the Assembly had passed this law that, as all things, they had good intentions, but it started out being about 607 waterfront miles and ended up, after they passed it, over 2,317 waterfront miles, which affects so many property owners and snow machiners, skiers. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's not about the Kenai River and salmon. There's little teeny creeks up in the North Fork by the Russian village that are affected by it now. So Fred Braun is working to try to get that repealed or stopped or changed, and we have joined his cause.
I understand that you have, what some are calling a pretty amazing group of board members, to include your president-elect.
That would be Chris Story.
Oh, my God, don't bring me up. As they say, there's two types of people in this world, those that live in the Kachumak Bay area and those that wish they did.
All righty. Well, thank you, Chris, and thanks for what you're doing here with the podcast.
My name is Jim Preston, and I am the president of the Southeast Alaska Board of Realtors.
And like you always say, Jim, when it's sunny there in Auk Bay, it's the best place on earth, right?
Oh, it absolutely is. It's just gorgeous. You get that sun, especially this time of year, because we have this, all year there's snow-capped mountains that you can sort of see, but this time of year they're a little bit closer. It's a little easier to see them, and you get that sunlight just gleaming off of the snow, and the trees, the green trees, are just stark against that white background, and of course then the water is just blue like the sky, so it's just awesome.
Wow. I'm sold. No wonder you sell homes. That's great. Well, tell us a little bit about what your board is up to. How is your membership, by the way, for this year, for 2013? Are your numbers up or down for membership in your board?
We seem to be gaining realtors. I mean, there's been some people had left the business and or have left Juneau and Alaska, and we have lost some real good long-time realtors, but we're also gaining quite a few. I see names on the list of, here's some new realtors. I've never even met them yet. Right in Juneau itself, we have like 60-some realtors. And then, but Southeast includes, of course, all of the surrounding communities, all the way down to Ketchikan.
How do you guys stay in touch? I mean, that's a pretty broad area to be president of. How do you communicate or propose that you will be communicating this year with your outlying areas? And what are those cities that are outlying Juneau that are part of your board?
The cities, we have realtors that are in Haines, and I don't believe there's any realty office in Skagway. I think people from here go up there. I think there's one realtor that lives in Gustavus. There are some realtors that live in Sitka, and in fact there's several brokerages, including Nancy Davis, who is the Realtor of the Year from here in Southeast, and she's also on the Real Estate Commission. And then there's Petersburg. There's 2 or 3 brokerages down there, and then down to Ketchikan there's 2 or 3 brokerages there as well.
That's a big swath of territory. How do you keep in touch with all those people?
Well, mostly right now it is by email, or occasionally we'll telephone people if there's that need be. The interesting story is that when we were announcing and honoring Nancy with the Realtor of the Year for Southeast, she wasn't present, and we got her on the phone and put her on the speakerphone.
Right.
So there we were.
Yeah.
One of my goals, and in fact other members of the board, one of our board goal is to try and get even more involvement of the outlying areas, including I would love to be able to get one of them to be actually on the board. Our president-elect, Honeybee Anderson, is also on board with that, and she thinks it would be a great idea to have those folks be able to Skype in at our monthly board meetings.
With today's technology, that's brilliant. That's easily done.
Skyping or FaceTiming in or something, depending on what they have at the other end, or the two ends,
Yeah, that's a great goal. And your Southeast board, you've got a couple of other things in mind this year that are kind of exciting. Why don't you tell us about them?
One of the things that we're doing is we put out a call to our affiliate members, and I know everybody has affiliate members that are invaluable to helping the organization run, and especially with fundraising and all of those kind of things. And there actually had been a request from an affiliate member that is there some way that we can become more formally involved with the board. And so at our last meeting, which was just this week, I was directed, I asked for and was given direction to form a committee of affiliates, and we're just going to start it out and see what happens. And Honeybee and I are Honeybee is going to actually chair that, at least start to chair that, and we're going to have the affiliates. There's been a pretty good response of people by email saying they'd like to be on this. So their task would be, let's have a mission statement. Let's, what would be a good composition of this kind of a committee. This is coming from them, and so we, it's like, well, we're not going to tell you what you want to do. I mean, you tell us. But this way, it'd be kind of a formal way that they could get together, and then that could be, presented to us, and we would have to decide from there what to do. But at least get that started.
There's a real symbiotic relationship between Realtors and our affiliates that you're recognizing and going to put some muscle into that. I like that idea.
See this of having a potential to actually blossom into something that other boards might look at, to say, oh, that's a good idea. Let's try it here, too. This is Jim Preston, and I will sign off, and thanks for the call.
Anna Johns with the Kenai Peninsula Association of Realtors.
Anna, tell me a little bit about the makeup of your board this year, maybe versus last year. You guys growing in member participation or losing realtors? What's the story?
We have grown slightly in membership this year.
Yeah, and how many members are in the KPAR board?
I think there's about 62.
Okay, and that's Kenai and Soldotna, right? You're in Kenai, but the board is both cities.
Right, Kenai, Soldotna, Iski, Sterling, Kasilof, at all kinds of pools. And people live in all those areas, the realtors.
Tell me a little bit about your guys' market. How is it faring so far this year, and maybe a little bit about last year?
It seems really good this year. Seems to be coming a little earlier than usual. I think a lot of it has to do with the new gas production and exploration in the area. You see a lot of commercial shop-type buildings going up. Ones that were empty are now full. So it looks like it's going to be a real good year. Last year, the economy was okay, maybe growing a little bit, but I think this is going to be a much better year.
What type of, demographically speaking, what type of people are moving to Kenai and Soldotna in your Central Peninsula area?
A lot of our people now are slope workers and oil field fishermen, but now we've seen a lot of, and it's kind of along the same line with the gas exploration. We've seen several new, smaller companies come in instead of just the big ones. Buccaneer and it's hard to remember all the names because they're all so new.
Right.
They're the ones with building the shops and bringing in new people, and so there's been a lot of of construction, more along the industrial type with shops.
Talk about vacant land a little bit. What's your sense of what's available and what's being sold as it pertains to vacant land? Is that a big part of your market?
We have a lot of land sales, not a lot of available land inside the city limits, but outside we have a tremendous amount of land available, especially in Nikiski, where we've got a lot of lakes and everything, but there's just so much of it. Mm-hmm. And we do have a lot of land sales each year. And I think we'll see more now because I think we're going to see more residential construction because when you have a growth in one area, it seems to affect the other.
What is your board up to? You guys have some fundraisers or any new activities you want to share with us?
We do. We have some exciting education coming to town, including Chris Story.
Yay!
We also have been planning our fundraiser this year for hospice and habitat of the Central Peninsula, and we're going to have a disc golf tournament in August the 10th, and we are looking for teams and sponsors. Right now, we hope to have everything set by the last of June so we can get everything printed, and it should be a lot of fun and a good fundraiser for a good purpose.
What about RPAC?
We are really excited this year because we have in our board 6 major donors, and quite a few of other donors have already donated in a different category. You know, we have several different ones, whatever somebody feels comfortable with, but real excited about the 6 major donors.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal.
I think it's going to be a great year. I think our sales are going to increase, and board's really excited about what's going on.
Alaska Real Estate's brought to you by Alaska USA Title Agency. You'll love working with Crystal and her team of experts all over Alaska. When it comes to closing your deal, facilitating your client's needs, no one does it better than Alaska USA Title Agency. See for yourself why so many people are choosing AK USA Title for their closing needs. Online at alaskausatitle.com. You've been enjoying our series on health. At least that's what you've told me. Coming up in future podcasts, we'll venture into wealth and prosperity segments, of course. This edition, however, I'd like to cover health again. After all, health is the foundation of a great life. I should know. See, my health was failing in many ways, and in some respects, it started to affect my career. Phil Eherenman to the rescue. See, it was sort of a chance mention of one of his cooking classes that led me to a whole new way of life, one of a vegan lifestyle. Now, I'm not suggesting that you too should give up meat and dairy, but so often I hear the question, Chris, why vegan? Well, all I can tell you is that in the past 11 months, I've lost over 60 pounds, eating plenty, by the way, and have been working with a trainer for the past 4 months. And let me tell you, for the very first time in my life, I'm beginning to know myself. And that little fat kid in my head is starting to quiet down. So why vegan? Let's ask Phil.
And in the United States right now, you know, it's amazing. Heart disease kills one out of two American men will suffer heart attacks, and 1 out of 3 Americans are going to die from heart disease. You know, American Cancer Society says 47% of the male will get cancer, and 38% of American females will get it. Diabetes, just crazy stuff. 26 million people have it in the United States. There's another 79 million people, according to the CDC, that are pre-diabetic. Obesity, we don't have to talk about that, where that is in America. Alzheimer's, really scary. Osteoporosis. But these are all diseases of affluence or excess, and they are connected to our diet because we go to other parts of the world where they're not eating the standard American diet. And I just don't mean fast food. I mean where meat and dairy are a huge part of the meals. And we look at these populations, and believe me, Chris, they're getting far and few between to find because everybody wants to eat like we do. That comes with the standard American diet, comes these diseases of affluence or excess. We look in parts of rural China and some Pakistan where they're plant-based, they're eating plant-based, and these diseases of affluence are rare. Cancer and diabetes and heart disease are rare in those populations. There's one reason. I mean, and the other reason, too, is it's hands down, vegans live longer than non-vegans, about 10 years. And there was a Seventh-day Adventist study that came out. Well, there's been 3 of them actually, but one was the last one was 96,000 Seventh-day Adventists throughout Canada and the United States. There's one with 24,000 and 34,000 before that. And what they have found that the Seventh-day Adventists, they are just they are fascinating people to study because they all refrain from tobacco, alcohol, and caffeine. But half of them are plant-based and the other half aren't. So the ones that are plant-based are outliving the other 10 years. And that's a lot of time in my book. So I tell people, how good does that really taste? Because does it taste 10 years that good?
Hey, doctor, will I live forever if I eat like a vegan? No, but you'll feel like it. How do you? I mean, that's the reality, though, is that there's this sense of why live forever if you're going to live on just lettuce.
Tell you what, that brings me into my last point, is that not only do the vegans live longer, the last 10 to 15 years of their life have a way better quality of life than the non-vegans. And it's tough in the United States. People go, I don't want to live to be that old, because you end up in nursing homes and wheelchairs, a lot of medication, without your faculties. So, I tell people, I ask people in my classes that I teach here in Anchorage, I go, how many people died in 9/11? Does anybody, do you know offhand, Chris?
3,000 people.
Pretty good, 3,000 people. And I said, and we went to war over that. We were appalled by that. But here in the United States, over 3,000 people die every day of heart disease, cancer, and stroke combined. And we just think it's normality. He just got old. He just got cancer, got heart disease. And again, we look at populations in the world, they're not eating like we are, and eating plant-based, and they're not suffering from these diseases. So those are 3 pretty big reasons right there, just the facts are the facts.
Thanks for listening to Alaska Real Estate Podcast. Sandy Eherenman is our executive producer. For all of us at Alaska Real Estate, I'm Chris Story, wishing you health, wealth, and prosperity.
If I don't do anything else today, I'm gonna take a walk up by the creek and have him sing his song to me. I will find a shaded sunny spot, I'll pull out my guitar and sing a simple song for you and me. Something like, ooh, la da da, la da dum da da da, singing ooh, la da 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 da. Well, it seems there are lots of songs about those 18-wheeler trucks, CBs and disco dancing, spaceships and such. And there's always lots of songs that are about hugging and kissing. But there ain't nothing on the radio that's anything like this. And it goes